Hi everyone, this is Professor Benjamin, and the objective of this video is to give you a walkthrough of the Dust Bowl assignment. Usually the Dust Bowl assignment is located under Session 6, which deals with our food. And the reason, of course, that it's there is because agricultural production is what led to, or what was one of the causes that led to the Dust Bowl happening. So in this assignment, you're going to use a series of videos and information to write a paper about the tragedy of the commons in terms of the Dust Bowl. So remember, you're going to want to keep the objective of tragedy of the commons, so short-term interest versus long-term gains. You'll probably want to use, you will want to use Garrett Hardin's paper as a source in your kind of paper, and so I'm going to walk you through what my objective is. If Turnitin is working by then you will use Turnitin to show and to help guide you with grammar, spelling, etc. If this is not showing up the top of your paper, then Turnitin is not working and you're not required to use Turnitin. If it is there, then you will need to use Turnitin. And if you're not sure of how to use Turnitin, there is a video under the home page that under the course information section that will show you how to use Turnitin. And it's good for grammar, spelling. It's also good to show you if you've plagiarized and if you haven't sourced properly. But again, if this highlighted information is not showing, then Turnitin is not available. If it is, then you're required to use Turnitin. So the objective of this assignment, known as one of the worst man-made ecological disasters in American history, the Dust Bowl has reshaped agricultural practices in the United States. In this lesson, students will become familiar with the historical events leading up to the Dust Bowl and the consequences of the disaster on environmental policies and farming practices in the U.S. The Dust Bowl is another example of tragedy of commons, where we look for our short-term gains and don't think about the long-term interests of our ecosystems in the process. So here are the learning outcomes that we're going to cover. So what are the directions? You're going to watch the following videos associated with the Dust Bowl, and there are links here. So you're going to, of course, want to cite those videos if you do use those, and you will use those in your sources. After watching the videos, write a one-page single-space paper explaining how the Dust Bowl is a tragedy of the commons. Include background information on the Dust Bowl, the short-term gains versus the lack of foresight of the long-term interests of the Great Plains. Also include the technical solutions that have been implemented to solve the issues that arose during the Dust Bowl. Explain if these technical solutions have solved the commons problem. One source must be used in your paper is Tragedy of the Commons article by Garrett Hardin that can be found under Session 2. It's absolutely essential that you include that. You're probably also going to want to include these videos in your paper, but you want to explain, a little background and intro, a little background about the Dust Bowl, then kind of what happened with the Dust Bowl, what were the consequences, then what laws were put into place or government agencies that were created to solve the problems with the Dust Bowl. And then, of course, you're going to want to wrap that up at the end. So make sure. So right here is the rubric that I'm going to use to grade you on the Dust Bowl assignment. So make sure you're checking all of the boxes here as well. The Dust Bowl, of course, was a man-made ecological disaster. So after World War I, the plains, which were usually used to raise cattle, all of a sudden we decided to raise wheat. And that was because we could get more money for wheat, and we started to grow our economy a little bit, which means more food for more people. And during this time, wheat production stripped the soil of its nutrient contents, as well as we really had to dig deeper into the soil, etc. Remember before, cattle were kind of just grazing on the top layer of the soil, but then we started plowing the soil, we drained the soil of the nutrients, which of course made it become more dusty. And when this happened after World War I and into the 1930s, people just really needed money, so they tried to grow as much wheat as they possibly could on their soil, and they drained the soil of its nutrients, which left it dusty. And then storms came through, and the Dust Bowl happened, which then caused individuals to have to leave their houses, etc. behind, and about 500,000 people were displaced during this time. A lot of deaths occurred. So there was a lot of death and destruction. From that, of course, Teddy Roosevelt put into place the Soil Conservation Service. He tried to implement other soil conservation techniques, and they are the technical solutions. Have we learned our lessons? Probably not. Is that we now, instead of wheat, what do we grow? We grow corn at massive amounts, and so that is definitely an issue that we will definitely have to overcome in the future, is because we've now just switched wheat out for corn, and we have mass production agriculture. So we have just kind of swapped the technical solutions. Granted, yes, we have better technologies and better kind of technical solutions now, but definitely another Dust Bowl or another agricultural disaster could happen in the United States. So that is my walkthrough of the Dust Bowl assignment. Remember, 1 page, single spaced, no header information because the system captures everything. I don't want your name, I don't want a title, I don't want anything, I just want you to start typing. Remember to show me where your sources are used in your paper through in-text citations, and then be sure that you're using at least two sources in your paper, and make sure that they are properly cited in MLA formatting on the other page. Remember, at least a 1 page single space paper. So if you go a little bit over, that's fine, but if you are short than 1 page, you will be docked points. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out, and I hope you enjoy this assignment. It brings in some historical context as well as how this relates to this class of environmental conservation.